hard.
Lovely. Do you also take a little sip?
Yes, I keep on bringing them. Just like
Yeah, you can practice right now.
Cheers. Ooh. Rosé.
Wow, great! Like Elaine drank one for drink.
As if you ever need to get me to drink my drink.
Yeah.
So, welcome, Kim. Jesus Christ. So welcome, Kim. Thanks for being my first guest ever that I'm interviewing.
My pleasure.
So basically what I'm trying to do in this section is I have a lot of friends who are leading very non-traditional lives. And one of the reasons why I wanted you to be my first guest was because you actually have an incredibly non-traditional life. You are from NYU's business school,
Yes.
but have gone like a completely different route from there.
Yeah. Technically, I guess, like, have never done anything that has been really specifically what I studied. So I graduated from NYU CERN, and right afterwards, even though I should have gone into a corporate job, I moved to rural Japan for 2.5 years to be an English teacher.
Yeah, and then from there you ended up coming to Shanghai?
Yes, came to Shanghai around 8.5 years ago, jobless, just wanting an adventure.
And since then you've built up this career in F&B and also design. In fact, you're about to launch your first collection.
Yes, I'm about to launch my very first clothing collection, which has always been a dream of mine ever since I was 5 years old.
So one of the things I wanted to do today was just talk to you about how you made decisions along the way, how you built up the confidence to kind of do things that seem crazy and out there to perhaps most of the people who you went to class with.
Yeah.
How do you like mentally prepare yourself to face this world where everyone's expecting you to walk up the corporate ladder, but you choose a completely different route?
When I first started being an English teacher in Japan, my parents, especially my father, who, you know, immigrant dad, PhD, all this stuff was just like, this is highly unstable. What are you doing? And then same thing when I moved to Shanghai actually was also, okay, what are you doing? I think it wasn't until, you know, he saw that I was chasing after my passion. So whether that was like healthy food or designing things, there was an actual business sense that had naturally come along. So that's kind of how I've gotten more acceptance in that. Not that I actually need that to make decisions in my life. Very important point.
I brought up your food and beverage career actually because one of the ways that is very crazy, I think, to people who actually think of their life in terms of their career spans is that when you first came to Shanghai, you were very, very involved in food and beverage.
Yeah, I think actually most of the time that I've been in Shanghai, I've pretty much only worked in food and beverage. So first was a grocery delivery company. I just went for that because I was really interested in food. I had been a food blogger when I lived in Japan, and I thought that this was a great way to like do something that I loved at the same time making income. Then I moved over to Dashu Wujie, which is a vegetarian Chinese restaurant, which is now Michelin starred now, which is super awesome. And then afterwards, I moved on to Sproutworks, which is a healthy, fast casual restaurant.
You say you moved on, but you actually became like a partial owner.
Yes, I did become a partner. It was always one of my dreams to actually own my own healthy restaurant because healthy eating had changed my life for the better. And so therefore I wanted to expand this idea in China. And so in the past, I think it was 4.5 years that I was with them, I opened up 5 restaurants in 2 cities and actually 2 brands.
That's kind of like the pinnacle of where you would want to be in your food and beverage career. Expanding a business that's incredibly popular in the country that you're in. Instead of continuing that, you quit.
Yeah, I did that around a year ago, and so, you know, it was a really, really difficult period when I was deciding to leave the restaurants. I really had sacrificed so much and worked so hard to, you know, build out a huge team in 2 cities, but there was still something that was just kind of like calling me in terms of creativity. I ultimately realized that, okay, say in 10 years, maybe we sold, maybe if we have good luck, it's like 30 to 50 restaurants. Did I want that? And I was like, no. I'm somebody who actually has multiple dreams in their life, and one of my unfulfilled dreams was actually in design.
You already started doing design like a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I actually started my own jewelry line, which is now also the same name as my clothing line called Cukimber. And I started that around 10 years ago when I was living in Japan. So I've always been just kind of like tinkering away, expanded into paintings that then became clothing.
This is a circle wrap dress. Yeah, and I designed this.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about was actually this idea of self-confidence. Whenever I think of you, I think of somebody who was really able to have this like boss mentality from the very beginning almost of when I knew you. And that's just so different from most people, especially women that I know, because as soon as they think that they're a little inexperienced, they kind of get like really, oh, I don't know if I can take this position, oh, I don't know if I can volunteer for that, and you just were always, oh, me.
Yeah, I have always been like that. I do have to say that along the way, of course, like I've had a whole bunch of great mentors, and so it wasn't ever I said that I knew how to do something even though I didn't. It was more that they were willing to teach me and I was willing to take the opportunity.
So do you think like you have ever suffered from imposter syndrome?
So many times, you know, media or whoever else wanted to interview me as like the expert in healthy eating in China. And I'm just like, I'm an expert. Like I didn't label myself as that. I'm just doing the work every day. But then I realized that actually doing the work every day does make you an expert. And the best part about actually having that mentality is that it has always given me huge payoffs in my life. I mean, I used to also be super scared about speaking in public. I used to be scared about being on camera. But then, you know, one time I actually saw someone on stage, which I knew like they didn't actually really like do that much work. If this person can get on stage and actually talk about this stuff, there's no reason why I can't do it too. I have more than enough knowledge and skills for this stuff. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Cheers.
I feel like there's just so many challenges, especially as like us, you know, that are things that you're always going to encounter. One of the things that I want to know about is what are some of these hurdles that you've identified in your life and that you feel like you really had to claw against and climb up over?
I remember actually one of the biggest struggles, quote unquote struggles actually, that I used to have consistently. I had consistently gotten underestimated all the time in meetings. Whether it's someone that thinks that when I'm with like say an intern or assistant that I'm actually the assistant, or that they think that actually like I wouldn't know a single thing about whatever the meeting is about. So whether that can be attributed to me being a young woman, whether it's because like my Chinese isn't perfect, or even somehow, I don't know how I might even act. Like I'm a pretty happy, bubbly person. Might be easy to assume that I'm an airhead. And I know that actually that's a struggle for a lot of women out there. But I just don't define it as a struggle anymore. I see it as that it's my advantage, because as soon as someone underestimates me, it'll be so much easier for me to prove myself and actually go above and beyond that too. I have for sure gotten angry before in meetings. Like I have definitely yelled before. I have definitely done whatever it is so that people could understand like my point. So for example, like if something doesn't get done on time and it was promised to get done on time, and then the company or whoever else ends up like losing a lot of money because of business deadline, I mean, it's very justified. And I'm not afraid to show that face either.
Don't be afraid to yell at people.
Yeah.
One of the craziest things in in college, actually, my roommates and I, there was this one time where we just sat around like, talking about what we disliked about our bodies. And be like, oh man, I wish I had like nicer thighs, or like, oh, I wish I had boobs and stuff like that. I guess one of the things I want to talk to you about is body image. Because I think that's also something that you worked through and seem to have come out on the other side of.
Yeah, I think I remember my earliest memory about body image was when I think I was just like 9 years old, and I was like looking down at my thighs when I was sitting down, and I was just like, oh, kind of fat. I totally just did not love myself. I did not think that I was beautiful. I don't think that I even really loved and respected myself until I was like 23 years old. Also, I did have a lot of challenges with my parents about weight. I used to be around 30-40 pounds heavier. My parents were always not very positive in their communication about it. And so, that had to be all about me learning to also stand up for myself, and also tell them that them saying those things, like calling me fat, were really damaging my self-esteem, and I needed their support as my parents. I think that the most important thing was, as long as I recognized whatever challenge there was, or recognized that there was some kind of negative belief, first accepted myself, and then afterwards even ask people to accept it without actually expecting them to do it 100%. And a lot of that actually just has to do with a lot of personal development work that I've done. So every single book that you can think of, I probably have consumed, because it's the only topic that I read about ever since I was 18. Really working through my own challenges and issues, and then finally realizing you can just be great as is. You don't need to actually have anything else to you. As long as you first accept yourself, afterwards things get a lot better. I do have to say, if anyone out there is struggling with any of these problems, make sure that you actually focus on it and work on it if you can, because the other side is much better.
Yes, absolutely. Self-confidence.
Yeah.
It's a better life to lead, honestly. So I'm actually 2 years older than you. I graduated 2 years before you, and I remember about 2 years ago I had this kind of existential crisis. I was in this completely different arena from what I had been expecting myself to be in, and I made my peace with it now. I think I've actually learned quite a lot in the career that I ended up choosing post-graduate school, but at the same time, I still had so many things that I really wanted to tell 2006 me. And I guess, what would be something that you would like to tell 2008 you, assuming 2008 you would listen?
It would have been very difficult, first of all, for 2008 Kim to listen to anyone. Again, I actually, a couple years after 2008, actually thanked every single person that was friends with me because of how difficult I was and how stubborn. I mean, it's not that I'm not stubborn now, but I was difficult. 2008 me really was quite much more insecure compared to now. And so what I would say to 2008 me would be, no matter where you are, just don't forget to work hard, and you'll be fine. You don't have to have real expectations of the way that people said that life is gonna turn out, because actually it can be a lot better.
So Kim, where can people find you?
I think people can find me off of my website, which is www.cukimber.com, as well as on Facebook under Cukimber Designs.
Great. And you can find me through my website, elaine-is.xyz, and also through Instagram. The links for all of this stuff will be below in the description when I put this video onto YouTube. Yay! Cheers! Oh. We are like one bottle less than I actually expected us to be drinking through this video. So
Okay.
let's get started on that section.